What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorites, actually, probably my favorite city builder of the year. Excellent. A little game called Bulwark. We've covered this a couple times in the past. First time in demo format, the second time was for the early access release, and now we are checking out the game for a third time because a complete overhaul patch is coming. It's publicly available right this second. You can go play this exact same build if you've already got the game by opting into the beta on Steam, by going to the properties on the game and all that kind of stuff with the flip down menu. You can go play around with this right this second if you want to, but I've decided to check back on into it because I've been told by the developer that this overhaul update is going to be pretty sweet. So today we're going to dive in for about 30 minutes. We're going to see if you wanted to check this game out, or if you wanted to get it for yourself, or if you wanted to pass on it. If you did want to pass on the game, or if you wanted to get the game, this is one of those rare cases where I'm going to tell you right now at the beginning of the video, don't buy this game. And here is the reason why. I have it on good authority. The developer told me over Twitter that there's going to be a huge sale next weekend. And so the game is going to be marked off by like an enormous extent. And so you should 100% wait till next week to buy the game, because if you buy it right now, you're paying full price. Next week, you'll be getting a very steep discount. And the developer wanted me to make that clear at the beginning of the video. But the link to the game is down below in case you wanted to wishlist it for that sale next week. And then on top of that, you can also take a look down there to find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream, just in case you wanted to hang out live. But let's dive on into this pleasant little post-apocalyptic Kevin Costner water world city builder, colony defense, colony survival game, because I like it a lot and hopefully you guys will like it as well. Now, normally if I've covered a game multiple times, I'll usually try to play for 3 or 4 hours so that you can see new content, but I have been told that this is kind of completely and totally different than the last build here on the beta, and so I figured we would take it from the top and just kind of see what things change as we go forward. Now, in Bulwark, as mentioned, you are in a post-apocalyptic world where everything has been covered by the ocean, and there's a few remaining factions that are all kind of like either beefing with each other or very, very hesitant to trust one another for who's going to control the seas. And one of the first things I need to do when I start out in this title is create my bastion. That's what this guy is right here. And if we hit the tab key, I'm going to treat this a little bit like a tutorial because this game has a lot of esotericism to it. You've got to feel this game out. It's one of those games that you kind of play with your gut, not with your brain, to figure out the basic mechanics, because there's a lot of exploration about the way the game works, and like very few of the mechanics are going to be super well explained to you. The tutorial is going to give you an in-depth guide to get started, but from there, you're just supposed to explore the world and sort of incorporate things that you don't understand into your overall hierarchy and economy of the game. Now, this is our outpost right here. The outpost is the center of our civilization. It's not the only one that we're going to get. There's also multiple races, or I guess multiple factions inside of this game that are doing different things. Everything from militaristic factions that are kind of like the Oceanic Brotherhood of Steel, to other factions that are they're mostly focused on just like, leave me alone. I don't want to interact with anyone. They're kind of isolationist. They're science factions. They do function differently from one another in the last build that I played, in the way that they upgrade and the way that they move around the map while still using the exact same mechanics. But this is our outpost. Our outpost supplies, anytime you see fists, that means that it's supplying manpower. Everything in the game requires manpower in order to function properly. From there, all of these buildings are upgradable based on what resources you have available. So right now, I'm isolating and I'm gathering wood that I'm getting from this side, but our starting outpost doesn't have wood inside of its radius, so I have to build a harbor. Once I've got the harbor, I can come back over here inside of pilot mode, and I can set up someone to be transit, to move things across the ocean so that my main colony has access to these things. So I'll come down to here, and let's go and assign a captain. For right now, we need a captain that can carry wood and can carry manpower. So there it is. This route is safe. Every single trade route in the game is going to have a rating. If it's anything other than safe, you're going to want to put guards, and you're going to want to put fleets on protecting it, because as you get further on into the game, there will be pirates that try to raid you. And one little thing about this game that it doesn't really explicitly say, or at least I didn't see it say it. With this new beta, I played through the tutorial again, but your captains, once they die, they are permanently dead. This is a game with consequences, and the fail state is you running out of captains and whatnot to move your stuff all over the world in order to keep building up your city. Now, for right now, what we need to do is anything that is directly connected to a source of any type of resources, whether that be manpower or stone or iron or anything else, anything that's within one step of it, you can build a tower right here, and it will inherit the production that this has over here, and by populating this little area, you will get access to more manpower and more workers. So let's put out some little pylons right here, just to give us a better chance of having more people available. Can I put that, if I do that right there? Oh, it does. It adds like a little Mos Eisley landing pad out on the end. That's pretty cool. I like that. We'll put those in right there, and what you'll notice is little houses and things start to populate this area. They're not just increasing our population, which you can see up in the top right. Your population acts as a hard cap for what is available to you. So the higher population you have, the more the game world is going to open up, and the more events and things like that are going to be sprinkled throughout the map. But also, this little +3 right here means that this resource can make 3 hops before it stops being available. We need to build up our population over here so that it can do many, many, many more hops before becoming dead. I like the idea of maybe putting like a tower on top of this little rock over here. You can build on top of anything in this game, so don't really worry about it too much. We'll go ahead and put out some little floaters over here, I guess some pontoons that people can live on top of so that our population will get to moving. And you can see right there our freehold, it just went up to +4, so now it can make 4 hops before it runs into trouble. So that's good for us, and we'll keep that right where it's at. These can also be upgraded via materials, so were we to get access to stone, we can upgrade these to stone towers, and then these to stone foundations and pontoons over here, which opens up a lot more options for how you want to interact with the game world. I do think that with this guy right here, I can put out like a little pontoon right there, but I think we're going to have to rely on verticality for this guy to really be useful as a central build location. So I'll put out some little pontoons right here, and we'll just hope that a few people move in, and then within one jump, I think I can get guys in right here. And so let me build this area up a little bit until we've got this to like a +7 or so, and I'll show you my handiwork when I'm done. This video is going to be edited because there's a lot of like little workman's tasks I need to do in order to get this starting area all nice and fixed up for the future. So I've got us at a +8 now. Let's have a look at our handiwork. So I created this entire city. This looks like something in another city builder that you've been playing for hours and hours and hours. And yet I created this all right here, probably in about 20 mouse clicks, because the game really heavily leans upon procedural generation of like the interfilling areas of all of your scaffolds in order to get things done. But all of these things are connected to our central tower. And this central tower right here now has a +8, which means that the resources from this location can go out 8 of these distances, basically, like 8 of these little towers, like that right there, which is going to work out great for us in the future. The next thing that we need to do is we need to build a stone mine. So let's go ahead and get that done very rapidly. We'll put in the stone mine over here, and just like with manpower, both the wood chopper and the stone mine function by the same rules that this has over here, where the more we populate within one jump of this area, the more hops that it will be able to take in order to make our lives easier. I don't know if I can go from the stone quarry all the way over to here. I can. Beautiful. Well, then let's bring the stone quarry all the way over to there. And now it's got a +6 because it's being supplied with manpower, and I think this should be a very powerful mine because it's got lots of building space all around it, like lots of free and open space for us to do incredible things with. But that's not going to be a priority for right now. For right now, what we need to do is we need to come back in here and we need to upgrade all of our towers to stone, because that's going to take us up to the next tier. So let me get all of my towers upgraded, because once these have been upgraded, we have much, much better like space solutions for how we want to build up these areas. Higher tier buildings tend to be more efficient at giving bonuses, and so I'll see what I can accomplish here just in mashing out a number of these towers. Be forewarned though, you do have limited resources. Every single time I build a stone tower, we can't see it right now because it's trapped inside the wall right there. Or maybe this doesn't have limited resources. I don't know. Either way, in the default gameplay, you have limited resources, and every time you build a tower, the amount of stone inside of here goes down by 1, and it'll look more depleted. Like this stone on the top will get lower and lower and lower, and that's to inspire you to go do trade deals and stuff like that in order to shore up your weaknesses. I can put a little tower right here, and I think that's a good idea. And this will just be our first little area that these stone workers live inside of. So let's give them a couple of pontoons over here, a couple of foundations to work with. There we go, that looks nice. And there you go, there's the finalized project. What you'll notice though, a really cool detail about this is because it's within 1 hop of the stone quarry, if you start looking at the city itself when it builds, you can tell that this is a quarry sector because there will be little stockpiles full of stone. As their prosperity goes up, they'll get these little grinders and forges and things on top of the buildings, and that's how you know that this population is augmenting the amount of stone and the distance that it can travel before you move any further. With a +6 and this also being so close to our central location, I think we'll probably be okay, but we do want to connect this if we can. Let's put this over here. We'll put that right there, and then we need that to make a jump over to the harbor, because that means that this area is now being supplied with wood in much less hops. And then from there, this guy, if we set up a person to carry it, will also have access to stone so that I can upgrade the lumber mill and get the lumber flowing out even further than before. Our lumber will be long and strong. This is also not the only part of the game. You can press the space bar at any time, and that will give you control of your airship. And your airship is a unit that you can move around from your own perspective that lets you interact with the simply massive game world. Like, it's a really, really large map. It's the same every time you play, but there's probably for every faction, there's like 5 different starting spots that you can start out in, which will give you a lot of variety for city building. Now, on first glance, this new patch has completely overhauled the way the map works. I'm seeing new icons because I played the old build for 2 or 3 hours before I moved over to this build so that it would be nice and fresh. The map is much cleaner now than it used to be. Everything is kind of shown to you without having to see it before. You can see ships around. You can see the relative strength of these other factions that are around. There's new icons that I've never seen, like this hunting lodge over here. I'm guessing that that's like a pirate turret or something. That's a new icon that I've never seen before. So we'll have to investigate one of those. But for now, the main reason you want to go out into the greater game world is because there's events out here that are going to give you more captains. They're going to give you more ships. They're going to give you more military units that'll follow your Zeppelin around as you're flying throughout the game world to allow you to defend yourself. All combat in this game, it used to be auto done, but I see a new key here called set assault target. So I'm guessing they're giving you a little bit more RTS control over the game via that right there. What is this over on this side? Let's go interact with these guys. There's also a lot of new voice lines. There's also a lot of new dialogue that I've heard since I came over to the beta build. So that's a good thing. These pirates over here, they want to join us. So this is how you get another outpost that'll supply manpower. These guys are offering to join our faction, or we can go to war with them if we want. But if we allow them to join us, we will get fresh combat forces, we will be able to salvage this outpost, and we can move it somewhere else to get manpower closer to something that we might need. The downside here is that this introduces their faction to our faction, which can potentially cause problems later on down the line, but mostly you get benefits by being diplomatic. So let's deconstruct this place and get it into the hold of our Zeppelin real fast so that we can move it around. There we go. We now have it under our control, and if you're paying attention, you may have noticed that now we have 2 birds and a Zeppelin following us. These 2 birds right here are combat units. They will auto-battle with any enemy that we come across in quite spectacular fashion, actually. The combat looks really good in this game. They've got little laser cannons, and they've got little, like, Tesla coil things that they fire at the enemy. And then I think this guy right here is not a combat unit. I think this guy right here is actually the outpost, just following us around until we redeploy it. We've also got another question mark in front of us. Let's go investigate that. The world also feels more lively now from the last build. There's like little fishing ships and things that are cruising around that I guess are just like neutral NPCs. I don't know if they affect anything in the gameplay, but those definitely weren't there in the old build where there's just like random fishing boats and stuff around, which definitely makes things feel a little bit more lively. What do these guys want? Let's see, pay 600 splinters and they will join us. So they're mercenary pirates. Okay. I don't need it for right now, but I'll come back and get you guys later if you don't join up with somebody else. What else do we have around here? What is that thing? Oh, it looks like they've added a lighthouse over here. That's kind of cool. They've got kind of like a North Pole thing going on. Either it's a barber shop or it's a candy cane. I'm not sure which. These guys over here will likely want to do a trade treaty because they're built on top of a wood node.
Salutations. It appears that
Oh, they're a commander. Okay.
It appears that my previous patronage has neglected to supply our station here and has left us stranded.
We get a free commander here, but we're going to need to find iron before we can get a free commander. I'll take her for now so that I don't have to, like, remember that this is over here. But that works for me. I also wanted to check out this little question mark over on this side and just kind of see if any of the randomized events in the game have changed around since the last time I played. It looks like it's another full-on city. Maybe of the pirate faction? It doesn't look like they're the Imperium, and it doesn't look like they're the Mancers. Oh, okay. Another mercenary. Gotcha. All right, well, let's head back home. And the good news is anywhere that you have an outpost, you can, like, fast travel there. So you can just click on that right there, and it'll take us back home instantaneously, so we don't have to spend a bunch of time in transit. We need to find iron. That's going to be our next go-to thing. Until we have iron, we can't really take everything up to tier 3 and make our lives any better. So I would suggest that we find that iron and we figure out where we can get it from. The closest iron is all the way up here, but it takes us past a pirate faction that's probably going to raid us. But that is the only easily accessible iron. I mean, I guess we could get this guy down here in the Shard, but that's a really long run. Like, that's going to... I mean, these are both really long runs. Both of them are going to be really super risky trade lanes that are going to get attacked pretty frequently. And so I'm not in love with either of our options here, but you can't make it further in the game without iron. So we're just going to have to risk it all. Every faction, every single starting point on the map is going to have its own issues that you've got to get over.
Head there.
And there's an anomaly over here. We can investigate it real fast and see what it might be.
Someone here recently dismantled a building, but left before we could contact them.
Okay. So it's just like the remnants of a previous faction. Gotcha.
Chance of encountering interesting folk.
We need to go to the northwest if we want to get this iron. Because iron is how we make command towers. And command towers are how you print out more units that'll follow your little fleet around so that you can get yourself into all kinds of trouble. So good news and bad news. We do have this iron mine over here. The good news is this is a really good spot to build an iron mine that has lots of free building areas so that we can get this thing really spitting out some serious shards. The downside is the transit between here and between our home base is going to be relentlessly attacked by pirates. This is a very long haul run, and so we'll build up the harbor right here to begin the transit. I need to assign a couple of ships here, and I haven't found any ships. Ideally for this one, I need a captain that can carry everything, just to save us the trouble. For now, though, I will assign a wood guy, I will assign an iron guy, and I will assign a stone guy. Basically the sum total of all my captains to make this work. And then we need to go back to base, and we need to make this connect so that we're not running into issues. To our south, there's a point of interest. Might be worth looking into. Let me see what the points of interest have for us. It may just be a few more enemy bases to interact with. Yeah, it looks like it's an Imperium outpost right there. And this over here is God knows what. I've never seen one of those before. If I give them 2,300 bucks, I get an ancient fortress. Ancient fortresses, I think, give you access to special units. It's been a while since I played the game last time, but I do remember having a special building from one of the factions in my colony that I built up for hours and hours and hours. It was a tower that went all the way up to the sky that had a golden dragon on top of it, and it gave me dragon riders that followed my fleet around, which was pretty sick. We're going to need to get the connecting harbor over here, and it needs to be on the connecting side. So we'll put it right here, I suppose. So there's our connecting harbor.
This trade route is now connected. The captain.
How dangerous is it? It is a dangerous route. Yeah, it doesn't say unsafe route. So this is the highest tier right here. So in the future, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get a captain that can carry all 3 resources over to our iron mine. That way it frees up 2 slots, and then each combat captain we put on this route is going to downgrade its danger level. So it'll go from dangerous to unsafe and from unsafe to safe. And so it's going to take some doing to make this trade route work. The good news is we now have access to iron, and so if we look at the overlay right here, you can see that that purple line, or that pink line right there, is our iron. And so everything over here has access to iron. We can maybe get iron on over to the lumber mill as well over there to take it up to tier 2. But for now, what we want to do is we want to take these up to iron tier towers so that they look more impressive and so that they supply us with a little bit more building space. Because once we get to tier 3, we can make use of terraces. And this will also take our main outpost up to level 3 as well. So that's going to look good right there. Now that I have everything on tier 3, we have access to terraces, which are these little triangles right here. Let me find a spot that's actually clear of any obstructions so that you can see what that looks like. You can move up and down layers on towers in order to build helpful things however you want. But there you go. That put out like a big old foundation right there. Looks like we can get one in right there too, but I don't think we can get one going out that way. And so we've got these pizza slice foundations now that we can make use of in order to make ourselves more prosperous. And there's one right there unbroken, so you can see what that looks like. I think we can hit it twice too, and it'll like build something on the outer edge as well. It looks like it didn't, actually. And if I come down to here, this is where I would be building foundations, like that one right there, that will go over the top of this thing if we've got an area that's being undercapitalized, like so. It also adds a very nice layer of sort of like texture, and I guess depth, and like Y dimension, I suppose, to all of this area. Makes it all break apart a little bit nicer and look a little bit better, and that's taken us up to +9 when it comes to our manpower. This guy right here also looks like it has space. So let's see what we can do with it. Yeah, that one's looking okay right there. I think that's about all I can get in, though, because the rest of it is obstructed. The good news is I got room for another tower right here, which I think we can fully tack out as well. But looking at our supply situation right now, it's not that great. So what I think I would like to do, let's develop our iron circulation a little bit better. We also need to keep an eye out for captains that want to join us. There may be ships and whatnot around that we can have join in with us, and that would be very, very helpful, because I need military units like right this second to protect this trade route. For some reason, they went around the back of the island too instead of going around the front, which is adding extra length to it as well. Okay. On traveling to the iron mine, we need to figure out what we want to do here with what we have available. I would suggest maybe we put the pirates in charge of this place. It doesn't look like manpower's having any trouble getting over here, but it may in the future. So let's go ahead and put a pirate fortress right here.
We have an outpost.
And that will now add them to our overall cohort. From there, we need to build some towers on this iron mine. I would probably start with a tower right there. I would also probably like to put one out. How elevated is this? Okay, I would like one to go right there. I would like one to go right there. And then I would also like a tower to kind of just go down and kiss the water's edge right here. And that should be good enough for the moment to get us developed and also get a few more hops on our iron. It looks like the iron is the stone, and it looks like the wood is barely getting here, so we're going to have to develop both of those things as well. But let me fiddle with it for a little bit. After a little bit of time, look what we've achieved. With just a few mouse clicks, we've taken this area and we've turned it into just a massive metropolis that's entirely based around iron mining. And it strengthened up our supply chain to be a +12 now, instead of a +7, which is where it was at before. Their manpower is secured via a citadel that's hanging out over here at level 3. I should probably, like, beef this up a little bit. There we go. It's been customized quite a bit, and we've turned this into a pirate port, basically. And now you'll notice that our pirate population is growing. This is important because in the overall hierarchy of the game right now, you have this thing called a soul tree, and as certain groups of people hit certain thresholds, you're going to unlock new events, and you're going to unlock new captains that will be attracted to your success, that have different skill sets and whatnot. And the pirates have a lot of combat guys. And so I'm hoping we can get some cutters and some frigates and some destroyers to defend our trade lane if I can just get these guys' population up. The downside there is this right here has no access to wood, unfortunately. So I'm going to need to get wood boosted on up. So let's go back to the map and we will go to our wood production. We'll travel over to our sad little wood mill over here. I guess I built it up and then just never really did anything with it. I also need more captains because I don't think they're getting stone looking at the color of the iconography where everything's flowing. This is putting out +6. This was not a great building spot to begin with.
Facility that has access to workers will develop industry around it. Settlers will come in and establish.
Okay, let's put a tower right here. Can't go up to level 2 because we don't have access to stone yet, and I don't have the captains to import it. But we can start getting like a little Deku village done over here that people live inside of. So that this place kind of has like support staff, I guess. And just keep adding pontoons and things. It'll probably be fine. There we go. Add one right there. That can go out 3 right there. So go ahead and hit me with one of those. Hit me with one of those. Hit me with one of those. Perfect. I don't know if this is actually... Yeah, it's on +8 now, so that's good. That should shore up the wood supply on our iron island for sure. And I didn't realize I could build on top of these mushrooms right here. For some reason, I had it in my head that I couldn't build on top of the mushrooms. Cool. Looks good to me. As long as this boosts... Oh, it's at +10 now. Hell yeah. How much do I have left? I guess we've just got infinite resources turned on right now. I've been mindful because my last run I had limited resources, and once you start to get low on resources, you've got to start seeking out people on the overworld map to create trade delegations with and whatnot to shore that up. So really the resources in this game are largely used to get you started, and then once you're all started up and ready to roll, you fill in the rest of the blanks with trade contracts. But it looks like I had a setting tweaked or something in the beta that I didn't have tweaked before. There's something on the horizon. What is it? That's an anomaly. Let's go talk to him. Maybe it's a captain.
This is Mark II. Whatever stories you might have heard, shoddy months of welding was to blame. I know gossip. What's more valuable than a...
All right. Sometimes you'll find little guys out here. I haven't figured out what these guys do. So that little guy right there is going to join our colony coming up next. And what you'll note is we'll start to get special buildings inside of our city. I don't know what those special buildings do, whether they've just got better density for civilians moving in or how they function. But let me see if I can find one, because they will crop up. There's one. You can see it right... Well, if I can get the camera fixed. You can see it right there if this guy stops moving. It's that building right there. It's got like a little alchemical, I guess it's got like a little thump keg on the side of it, and it's got like lanterns hanging from it. I have no clue what these buildings do, but in the course of playing the game for hours and hours, There's a bunch of different businesses and like witches and stuff that will move into your town. I have no idea what benefit they produce. I truly cannot tell you. Knowing this game, they probably do something like increase population growth or happiness or something, but I haven't been able to chart it or follow it myself, unfortunately. This place does now tentatively have access to wood. So that solves a problem with developing this ridgeline over here, although I don't know if I want to develop the ridgeline from the bannerless citadel. I do need more pirates. Like, I need way more pirates living inside my society. And, like, the more pirates I have, the better off we'll be. So I need to put in some towers. They don't have access to stone over here, so we're going to be stuck with wooden buildings unless I can connect that back over to there, which I can. We built a big drawbridge, and now they have access to wood, if only briefly, so we can take these up to tier 3, and we can get some serious foundations built here. There we go. That's looking a little bit better, and it's going to boost up the manpower spread that they have over here, as well as allowing more pirates to flow into our society so that we can hit those thresholds and get access to new units and things that are going to help us once conflict arises. Because, mark my words, it shall arise. It shall arise. But combat is not really the focus of this game. Combat is fine, and it's enjoyable, and it's interesting to look at when you're playing. And it does give you some things to think about once your trade routes and whatnot start getting hit. But combat is not the end-all be-all of this game either. There's always a diplomatic solution that you can go for as well without completely and totally hosing yourself. We're so close on pirate development right now to getting 3 new captains. I just need to do it, dude. I just need to get it done. It just needs to happen. Let's put a few more spires over here. Oh, they don't have access to stone? Okay, that's fine. They don't need to have access to stone. I just need places for people to live. Although it's plausible that we could just make the jump from right there to... There we go. Let's kind of get that nailed down so that we get like these big concrete pizza slice foundation. I don't know why I like calling them pizza slices. I must be hungry or something right now while I'm recording. I keep going back to pizza. All good and ready to go. And then I'll probably put like one big jutting thing over on that side because it looks cool. There we go. Get a couple little walkways out here just to add a little bit of texture and flavor to the area. There we go. Make it look different from all the other spires that are rattling around. And now that we've hit, we're at 350. I wonder if I need 500 or if I need more than that. Hey, we've got a captain that wants to join us. Perfect, dude. Let's travel back over to here, and we will talk with this guy. Where's he at? There he is. What are you? Please tell me you're a battleship. I need you to be a battleship. It is a battleship. Hell yeah. A Freehouse battleship right there. Okay, so do I have any ships? So, like, the big run that we're doing right now up to iron. So until I have a pilot that can carry all 3 resources and consolidate this resource chain, I can't add the cutter to this trade route. I mean, I can add it.
Things are good.
Yeah, unassign him, I guess, and put the cutter on this. Now it's a risky route. All right, good. But he's going to escort the fleets now. I'm kind of done building over there anyways for the time being, and so I guess I can just make the route safer for a little while just to ensure something good happens. I think we have another ship over here that's offering its services too, and if he ends up being a threefer where he can carry wood, stone, manpower, and iron all at the same time, that's going to be a big acquisition for us. It looks like a big ship. What are you? A steam rake. Okay. I mean, it's another combat ship. I'll take it. He'll cruise around our territory and protect us until we need him to do something else. This faction over here will trade us iron for wood. Oh, no, dude. I set up that iron trade line, and I didn't even need to. I could have just had these guys supply it because I have tons of extra wood. Okay, well, we may be able to make that trade lane more efficient in the future. These guys should like us because they're freehold, and we are also freehold, right? They're a little bit intimidated by us. Oh, these guys are Imperium, that's why. I was going to say, we should be in good shape with freehold. So basically how it works is, with diplomatic relations, the more people from that faction you have living inside the confines of your city, the more they like you. They see you as a friend. You can also go to war with them and just like blast them until their intimidation bar is full, and then you can demand things from them. This guy carries everything. Perfect. Okay, so that fixes a problem that we're dealing with over here, because that means I can maybe put the steam rake on this trade line as well to downgrade it even further in its danger level. But since the video's getting a little bit long here, I just looked at my timer, let's talk about why I like this game and why I initially vouched for it. Why did it stand out to me instantly the first time that I played a demo? As we talked about in the last video, most city builders nowadays are completely and totally just sort of trying to copy Anno, Banished, Frostpunk, or They Are Billions, and then they'll add a little flavor twist to it, like a little sprig of garnish. But that's what most city builders are doing nowadays. That's all well and good, that's fine. Developers have to make money, but at the end of the day, I prefer novelty in my games. I like games that are unique and interesting. Things like Astronauts, things like Neo Scavenger, like things like Arkan games would make, or Screwfly games would make. The really strange stuff tends to be the stuff that I like the best. And I like it when a developer goes out on a limb and tries to do something weird and outlandish with their time rather than chasing established gameplay mechanisms and trends. And Bulwark is that. It's a city builder that can feel a little bit aimless sometimes, but that's usually because you're not exploring enough, playing around with buildings enough, or bumping elbows with other factions enough. And it seems like a lot of the additions in this new beta are kind of trying to move it in that direction by giving you much more developed of a map and more breadcrumbs to follow around. So I sort of like what this game is chasing down, as it fits a middle section between a tool that lets you build maps procedurally, or something like Dwarf Romantic, but it also incorporates ideas from other grander strategy and open world games and keeps those in mind when it comes to the way that your city interacts with the greater game world. And so it takes what would normally be a cozy game, which I'm completely uninterested in a lot of the time, and then it adds stakes to that in a post-apocalyptic world that's well-designed, well-animated, voice-acted, and very visually unique from a lot of their competition in the field. As far as this beta goes, this new overhaul is adding a lot of new stuff to the game, so if you already own the game, now's going to be the time to jump back on in, because it seems like focusing and honing the edge of the gameplay is like the focus of this whole thing. You now have money that's earned by your society. That wasn't a thing before. You can use that to hire units, you can trade with people, you can bribe people, you can bribe factions to side with you. I've been told that combat's been completely overhauled as well, but combat isn't really a thing that happens in Bulwark unless you seek it out, and it's usually kind of like consensual except for attacks on your trade lanes, and so you're not going to see a ton of combat in this game. However, they have a fix for that as well. But they added a playable ship to the game that can be unlocked somewhere on the map so that you can like slow boat around the map and blast people with broadsides if you want to. They've doubled the size of the map. That was one of the first things I noticed, that the map is way bigger now and has a bunch of new icons on it that I haven't had time to check out. I'll probably do it on stream or something with people watching in order to figure out what else is going on with it. I asked the dev about that on that point. Did the map get bigger? And he was like, yeah, it's twice as big. And so they've also added a completely new game mode that is all combat, no diplomatic options, and it's just pure rage and aggression all the way through. So this is a pretty big update for a game that was already pretty rad. I like it. I continue to recommend it. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today we were checking out Bulwark one more time, which I haven't even gotten to the point of cracking into a lot of the beta content yet, even in my personal time playing for a couple of hours, but I'm definitely running into new stuff pretty frequently that's inspiring me to keep my city growing and to keep the sprawl going. And man, what a great looking sprawl it is. I would say that my only real complaint about this title is just that selectivity can sometimes be a little bit sticky in between your buildings with the way that the camera is fixed and everything. But once you get a hang of it and you figure out the control method, it's not that big of a problem too frequently. I'll see y'all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. Up until then, take care, but it's time for me to go. Bye, folks.